Welcome back, folks. This is Flip Out, where we're going to talk about this mess. Yes, this mess of properties and what we're doing. If you joined us for the last one, we went into the vision of what it is we saw when we bought this property. We talked about how we're going to demo these, how we're going to develop these, and the different exit strategies. But today, I want to go into the numbers. I want to go into the dollars, and I want to show you how we raised the money to do what we're doing right now and how we'll raise the money to do the rest of the project. Because the way we're raising is exactly the way you can raise. And I've got a good friend, Rashad, in town, who's a amazing developer who has done the same thing from his money standpoint and how he raises for his deal. So if he can do it and I can do it, you can do it. Let's dive in. When you're raising money, one of the biggest things you need to understand is it's never about your actual resources, it's about how resourceful you can get. And my friend Rashad, who's joined us out here to do a podcast, is a very resourceful person and also extremely tall. He does a ton of tiny home developments, and you're gonna hear more about that on his podcast. But what I brought him here for is to give me some advice, because you always need advice, and you've done them, and well, I need help here because I've got 3 different ways to do this, all of which will require a lot of different money raises and different amounts of money raising. So, Rashad, I know you have to duck going through them. So is that a problem? I mean, when we rebuild this, should we change the door frames?
Yeah, we should definitely raise the door frame so I don't have to duck.
A guy like me would never know. I'm like, there is just plenty of room here. I mean, there's no issue. I mean, I got to more worry about tripping over things on the ground.
I actually just hit my head before, so I got to be cognizant. This is a older house.
Now, when you saw this entire project, I showed you kind of what we're talking about doing with it. We're going to demo these 2 buildings, which took us a year to get approvals. Now, I know down south where you do this, how long does it take you to go from start to demo?
A demo, I mean, it could probably take a couple weeks to get a demo permit. But I've also demoed homes without a permit. You just got to be quick. But I don't know if we could try that in New York, but I see you already on the schedule, but it's probably a couple weeks to get a demo permit.
Ever deal with historical?
Oh, well, that's a whole different beast.
Yeah, that's what this was.
Yeah, so that's probably why. Anytime you're dealing with a historical district, it's more development overlays and more restrictions. So.
I showed in the last video the hand-hewn beams that literally, for an hour I sat there watching this historical department go through and point out, oh wow, look at how beautiful those are. Those were probably hewn by hand. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah,
I'm like, can I please just put it to the ground?
Yeah.
But finally they did allow that.
That's good.
So initially we raised the money from this the same way you raised money, private money. And we did it on privatemoneyclub.com. Can you just talk a little bit about, how you found Private Money Club and how that's what you're using to fund your deals?
I actually reached out to you in December to see if you can help me raise capital for my projects, and you directed me to Private Money Club, and ever since I've raised over 1.5 million in Private Money Club in less than 10 months. So I'm a big advocate of that. I'm trying to just build my base here. I don't need to go anywhere else. I want to just keep getting my investors from Private Money Club.
Now, I know the audience probably doesn't believe that it's easy to raise money because if they've never done it, they're like, oh, that's so hard, you guys are different, but really it's not. Now, what are some of the key things when you raise money that you have to have done and ready in order to go to Private Money Club?
So a couple of things. You got to have a property, and also you need to have it entitled if you're doing development. So start raising the capital when you get ready to start paying your vendors, your civil engineers, your architects, your attorneys to draw up contracts and stuff like that. So, you need to have those things in place. The property, either have it under contract or, have it acquired. And then the next thing is, have it entitled.
And one of the other things, when you raise money, you do it in tranches, right? First phase is get the property, get it to the point where you then can kind of take the next step and go vertical. So when you do that, the 1.5 that you've raised, is that mostly all the soft costs and everything up to the point where you're ready to go vertical on it?
The 1.5 I've raised was across several properties, and they all in different phases. So some of them has been just to acquire the property. Some of them have been to get entitlements done. Some of them have been to pay contractors and keep projects moving forward. So it's a deal by deal, case by case basis of when I start raising the money. But I never raise all the money in the beginning if I'm acquiring a property because I want interest coming up, because we still got a sitting time working with the city going through the entitlement phase. So I'll raise a tranche for acquisition, And then once we get through entitlements and I have to start paying my vendors, I'll raise another tranche to start paying the vendors.
Yeah, I think that's super important because you don't want to be paying interest on money that's just sitting there idle. You know, right now this building's been idle for a year. We've paid interest, but only on the acquisition costs and a little bit of soft cost money. Yeah, so the next phase is once we get these things to the ground, which I'll put a little bit of my own money, and that'll be the only skin in the game I'll have in this project is that. After we're done with that, then if we decide to move forward and actually build and develop this, I'll have to raise money a second time. Is that how you'd look at it?
I think you did it the correct way. The acquisition, you set for a year. You had to do that because you had to acquire the property. And now, you know, if you decide to take it full scale, you can raise the next tranche to get it developed.
He's gonna run out of headroom here.
Yeah. This definitely is outdated. We gotta get it down.
Look, gonna step up.
This is a tiny house right here. You know what I'm saying? I can't even stand up straight. Stretch out.
Stretch.
I wish I could be a part of the demo team.
This is one of those few times where I actually feel fortunate to be short. You're struggling in here. So, all right, like, listen, if we were gonna redo this whole building, because we did think about that, like, where would you even start and stop with what you've seen? I mean, we walk down a forever hallway that goes nowhere, and you land in here, and then
it's like a maze.
As you're walking up, the ceiling is getting shorter and shorter because it's so angled.
I would tear it down. I wouldn't renovate it. I mean, you got the panels here. It's like an older house. I mean, it's just, for me, my buy box, and I had to create this because I did a flip where it was a $150,000 flip, and then after the fact, it was like, man, we should just tore this down and build brand new. We don't have any surprises because new construction, to me, because I've done it on every level. I did flips, I did new construction. New construction is actually easier because you're just putting a puzzle together. But this, we don't know what's behind these walls. We don't know what's behind this panel. You got 6 foot, walls, ceilings you got to raise up. So I would tear this down. Like my buy box, if it's over $80,000 in renovation, we're tearing it down.
I feel like we could figure out what's behind these walls pretty quick with those big feet. Well, let's get out of here before something else hits your head. I don't know what this guy was trying to do with this place.
Right, he was just freestyling. They don't seem like he had an architect or nothing.
Oh, last time you should have saw it when we were walking up the stairs. I grabbed the railing would have just fell out of the wall. Signs everywhere, signs.
These old houses like this, I mean, back in the day, I mean, I've done flips with houses like this. But like nowadays, I look at something like this, it's a teardown.
That before it burned, we were thinking, all right, we're gonna redo this, we'll rent that out. Over here, we'll just make this a little storefront and we'll make this cute. We'll put glass here and then we'll, put some apartments here. And like that's how my mind always works, is like fix it because it's here and it's easier because that's all I know.
Right.
I don't think there's any fixing this anymore.
Yeah.
So that's how we arrived at, all right, time to bring this thing down to the ground.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And for me, it's all going through experience. I went through it a couple times, and then that's why buy boxes are important. So now, like, if I got my buy box, I know I'm looking for something for land. I'm looking for new construction. I'm not looking for something that I can renovate. So I got a direct eye for what I'm looking for.
That's something I think is so important in every aspect of life, is just having that focus on that one thing and get to be really good at that one thing like you have with tiny homes.
Exactly.
Because I mean, hey, listen, like every person that walks in here, they're gonna look at this, oh wow, look at these hand-hewn beams. Like they're gonna be like, that's what they want. I don't know if it's a Buffalo thing, but it's just like, get over the hand-hewn beams.
Yeah.
Like, there's no money in those.
Right.
Because he's probably thinking, wow, I could sell this thing for $600. It's like, it's gonna cost more than $600 to take it out of the ceiling.
Restore, yeah.
Just to get it down.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, we're gonna get to demo this whole thing down, but then comes the real decisions. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. So this is where we're at so far. Those are our rough preliminary numbers, but they're pretty right on. And my goal, because I'm not a developer, is to take this thing to the point where we've got all the permits, we've got it approved by the town to build this particular design, and then we're just gonna put a big sign out front and just sell it site approved. Now, I don't know if I'm going too far and spending too much time and money doing that, because if it doesn't sell, then I'm right back to developing it. I'm just trying to figure out, like, where do I go? We ran these preliminary numbers. Like, what is your take on these?
Well, I think if you're gonna do, I think you need to have 2 sets of numbers. The numbers, one side A, as if you're gonna flip the paper, and then side B as if you was gonna take it full scale. And then you reverse engineer to see if the profit that you're gonna make off full scale, is that worth going through a year, 18 months of development, I know you're already busy, you got your businesses and stuff like that. Being a developer is a full-time job, watching contractors, unless you got a good project manager. And then, like I said, the side A, which is flipping the paper. And then, like, does it make sense to do one or the other?
Well, that's the thing. When I look at this and I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like, how do I know if flipping the paper makes sense for the investor that's going to buy this from us? Because, you know, right now, like, I think to get it site approved will probably be in the 260, 270 range. So that'll be all in. So we got lucky over here because this property burned and, you know, that helped our basis. But I think if I were to sell this papered, it'd be like 350. And I think that's very doable. And we make a nice little profit, and I think it'd be hopefully quick, but you never know, right? The economy's doing some weird things right now, kind of on the other side. You're the developer. Like, how would you look at the numbers, and how would you decide what to do with this project?
So you're all in, how much? 260 or 160?
Well, with the land and the demo and the carry cost thus far, I'm probably about 260.
All right, so what I always do is I reverse engineer what my desired profit would be if I was to flip the paper. So if you all in 260, what's your desired profit that you want to make if you flip the paper?
100 grand.
100 grand, so 360. Now, so we got 360 on that side, right? So if we take it full scale, typically my rule of thumb is I need to make a minimum net of 100K each house. We got 5 houses here. So in essence, 500K, right? Is 500K in 18 months worth it to do it versus making 100K now?
That's the magic question, because then that says, okay, if I did this thing full scale and I was able to list these, will they sell? Am I gonna get caught on the other side, you know, of this economy? Could we be in a recession? Could the price of these properties that I'm thinking I can get go down significantly? So these are all the things that play out in my head. So from that standpoint, me just not being a developer, I look at it and I say, you know what, just flip the paper, make 80 to 100 grand, you know, probably more like 80 because we're gonna have realtor fees and everything for selling it. But I don't know, I mean, yeah, 500 sounds great. It would be really cool to put our name on this. And also if I did take it full scale, then if they didn't sell, I could always rent them. I mean, I'd get a good buck for renting these. I probably could rent these things for like 25, 2,600 per unit, maybe more.
If it was me, my rule of thumb, my buy box for development, I wouldn't do a deal unless I was making at least $1 million on it.
There's no way to make that.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense for you to, you know, flip the paper, because a lot of people don't take into account is opportunity costs. Like, you're gonna make 500 if you take it full scale, but what opportunities are you missing along the way in these 18 months while you're running your business, being a family man, like doing all this stuff? So running PMC, all of that. So a lot of people don't factor in opportunity costs. So I think it's smart to flip the paper, make you 100K, and keep it moving.
That's interesting. Opportunity cost is something I would definitely think. So let's just say I could flip the paper and I could make 80 grand, but that also would give me back the interest that I'm burning right now, because I got a burn rate on this, because I borrowed the money from lenders on Private Money Club. So if I didn't have all that, and plus I'd have to put a little bit more in, so let's just say I had to put another 200K of my own money, now I'm 280,000 in. So if I gave you 218 at 15%, I'm making $42,000 a year. Let's say I give that to you for 2 years. I just made $84,000 on that. That's as much as I'm gonna make flipping the paper, if not more. And I'd be better off just giving you the money and not doing a thing. You know, somebody once told me that the ultimate in real estate is being the bank. Like, that's exactly that.
Yeah.
The numbers prove it. So I think that's the route we're gonna go. I just worry that if I do this, so here's the other thing, is like, do I just demo it and just put a for sale sign out for 350, right? Because then I have no site approval, so I don't have as many costs and I can do it right away. Or are people gonna find value in having it site approved?
I think people will find value in having the site approved, but me personally, I will get the entitlements, because that's just an extra bargaining chip, you know, to get buyers through the door. You know, because you still got a burn rate on this. So we got to factor that in. Like, we could be greedy and try to get the most, or we could take it full scale. Well, not full scale, but take it, get all the entitlements, and get it sold, and we eliminate that burn rate.
You know, with what you just said, what if these are going to be on the ground and then we just got to seed them? What if I just put a for sale sign out front? And I did that. I attached this stuff, even though it's not site approved. Here's what we were going to do. And then I just go through, I'm still going through the process with the town. So now I'm pushing that forward, but I've got the for sale sign out already. So people are starting to see it. They're starting to ask questions about it. And If somebody wants it, but they want the site approval, then I just go full cycle with that. If they're like, hey, no, we're going to do something totally different with this. We're going to buy the neighbor and we're going to buy the old church and we're going to do this big project. So maybe that's the route I'll go.
I don't think it'd be a bad idea to put a for sale sign out there right now. Like, that's how I do mine. Like, as I'm entitling it, depending on what you come and engage me at, that's the price. If I get all the way to full scale entitlement, the price goes up. If you catch me right here in the demo phase, you'll get it for X price. If I get it entitled, you get it for Y price. So 10 different developers will look at this and have 10 different ideas. So, what works for one person may not work for another. We may have deals on materials where you're saying you could build for $200 a square foot. Somebody else may look at this and say, I could build for $160 a square foot, which dramatically changes the numbers.
I think sometimes, in real estate, our ego gets in the way and we're like, oh, I want to put my name to this. I want these really awesome places and I want to say I did this. But you know what? At this point in my life, I think I'm just going to do what you just said, put a for sale sign out, bring it to the ground, keep that for sale sign out, and just keep telling the story. And if someone buys it, great. If not, well, phase 2, phase 3 will kick in.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about doing a project like this, whether it's a flip, a renovation, or a rental property, where you should start is privatemoneyclub.com. Because if you don't have the ability to raise the capital for your project, you don't have a project. So start at privatemoneyclub.com, create a free profile, and put your deal up there, or just talk about your vision and your idea on the community chat. That's the first starting place. Because again, with no money, you got no project. So start there. You lose a little bit of sleep with a project like this when you're thinking all the way through it. Now, I just want to be done with it, make a little bit of cash, move on, give you some money, and you could just pay me.
Yeah, take the money and run. Oh my God.
This is different glass.
It's clearly the hand-hewn beams.
Yeah, you gotta save some of these beams, hand-hewn, 150, 200 years old.
Oh, for crying out loud. Another one.